Everyone, let's see, trying to get the light right. Okay, so this particular video is being done the day before Thanksgiving 2017. This is a conversation that was started, part 3 of a conversation started concerning vaccinations. And I had promised that I was going to give you guys some tips about how to keep, at least in this particular video, we're going to focus mainly on newborns, okay, and our babies of the future. Vaccinations have bad toxins in them, unfortunately, and can create problems with a child and their immune system. Anything from an autoimmune disorder to potentially even autism, which is a severe disability and an inability to actually even connect with the real world. A very sad situation. So back to the tip. Well, the big tip for vaccinations, if you are going to go ahead and choose to vaccinate your child, whether it's because you absolutely have to, in some states it's mandatory for kids to even be able to go to school to have their vaccines. So breastfeeding is the number one offender to any types of complications related to vaccinations. It used to be when I first started being a midwife in 1980, and we have a group called the La Leche League, which was back then stating that breastfeeding our children until they were 3 was recommended. I was a little bit more conservative, and basically I believed a year was enough. However, with the extremely poor quality of vaccinations, with the toxins that are in those vaccinations, along with the extremely poor air quality we had, along with the extremely poor food problem that we're having with GMOs. I mean, there's just neurotoxins. There's toxins everywhere. And breastfeeding is not toxic. Now, again, mom does need to focus on what she eats. A full organic diet is going to give your baby the best possible breast milk. Least poison as possible. No smoking, drugs, anything like that, within reason. But what I'm basically stating is that breast milk is specific to your child. Your breast milk is specific to your home environment. Every antibody that you yourself have ever made in your immune system to fight off an offender, such as a virus or a flu or a bacteria, is going to be in your baby through your breast milk. And I'm thinking 5 to 6 years of breastfeeding. Now, what that runs into is basically boundaries, because there's a term that I always used to use about when to actually wean your child, is when your child is running up, lifting your shirt up in public and just grabbing your boob and sucking on it. Now, again, that's a boundary. And with the fact that by the time your kid is 5 to 6 years old and you're going to start to wean your baby's going to not be a baby anymore, and it will be a natural thing. Because basically the type of breastfeeding that's going to start to happen after your child is walking, or at least within 12 to 18 months, is more of a comfort breastfeeding, more of a breastfeeding, for not so much feeding, but just to feel nurtured, through anything. And keeping in mind that breastfeeding is not only going to fight off all these toxins, it's also going to help with the jaws, the structure of the jaws of your child, the ear canals, and to be able to have less ear infections, helps with the ear to actually form better as they suck. There are immense amounts of incredible positives about breastfeeding. Not to mention the one we're talking about here, which is so your child does not become autistically retarded as a result of getting a vaccination. That's just the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. The very fact that our children are even able to live through the amount of vaccinations they're being given currently is amazing to me. I have seen since 1980, go from a 1 vaccination, and the polio, of course, by the mouth. And, we now have babies coming home with 5 injection sites, tummy sites, leg sites. It's ridiculous how many vaccinations these children are being given. Let me also say that extensive breastfeeding, along with you are mom, and your dad, and you can tell the doctor, okay, I'm willing to vaccinate my child. I'm willing to keep it up from 2, 4, 6 months, and then an 18-month, booster. However, I want my child to go through one shot every 2 weeks and see how he does or she does with each injection. There's no reason why the baby and her little immune system has to be hit so hard with so many injections at one time, except for to save time and also insurance. So keep all those things in mind. Look into the little HA League, see what they're recommending. Do your own research if you need to. But I have been noticing the trend, and I am a conservative midwife, and a year to 18 months of breastfeeding was always my thing. But from what I've been seeing, the onslaught of all this intensiveness that's going on in our world that is not life-giving or producing, breast milk is probably the most incredible life-producing fluid that you can give your baby. I mean, as long as you can do it. And, it also helps for better bonding and better family appeal. And that's another problem we're having is our family systems are breaking down, and if we just go back to the basics, of just basics, that we're here to procreate, we're here to give birth. Our bodies are made to give birth, not to have C-sections, as well as our bodies are made to feed our young. So there you go. That's what part 3 is all about. And as far as breastfeeding goes, or as far as any of this video goes, I would love to hear your comments down below. Please subscribe. If you would like to, please make a comment, and I will answer any questions that you have. As far as I'm concerned, breastfeeding for me at this point in my practice is probably one of the more important things that I really, really want to promote and to provide a service for. So please feel free to ask any questions, and thank you so much for your time, and I will talk to you soon. Much peace to our babies and to the parents, who basically at this time in our lives have to be very, very strong.